Welcome to this explainer. We're diving straight into the absolute chaos that erupted in Jharkhand on August 10th, 2026. I mean, picture this. Thousands of frustrated students and a state apparatus on extremely high alert. Today, we're breaking down the whole shebang. The rapidly developing timeline, the intense clashes on the ground, the official responses, and the really big democratic questions surrounding this massive recruitment crisis.
Okay, let's dive into this. Eruption at the assembly. Students clash with police.
To really grasp the sheer scale of what happened right at the doorstep of the state assembly, we kind of have to map out the timeline, because this was absolutely not just a sudden overnight outburst. No, for over 14 days, this agitation was systematically led by the JPSC-JSSC Reforms March, and the physical toll? It was severe. One of the protest leaders, Motto, actually went on a hunger strike for 9 solid days. In fact, in a striking detail of just how desperate things got, he joined the march, arriving in an ambulance. That brings us right to August 10th. The simmering tension over reported exam irregularities finally exploded. Barricades were breached, and the police were put on maximum alert by the ADG headquarters, Manoj Kaushik.
Let's look at the actual facts on the ground from that specific day. Thousands of individuals showed up to protest near the assembly. As the crowd surged, students forcefully breached the barbed wire barricades that were meant to contain them. In response to that breach, police deployed water cannons and fired tear gas straight into the crowds to disperse the demonstrators. It was, by all accounts, a severe physical confrontation. Following the clash, the demonstrators heavily alleged police brutality, reporting multiple injuries and painting a pretty grim picture of the standoff.
So, what exactly pushed thousands of students to march against barbed wire and water cannons? Let's look at the recruitment exam row, which is at the heart of the protest. Now, what's really interesting here is the exact structural failure these students are protesting against. At the absolute center of this movement are the JSC-CGL and JPSC recruitment examinations. Look, these aren't just everyday tests. They are literally the gateway to livelihoods and futures for thousands of young people in Jharkhand. The alleged irregularities in how these state exams were conducted, that's the exact spark that ignited this entire crisis.
But while the students marched, law enforcement was making its own moves behind the scenes. Arrests and ED probe, official actions unfold.
Officials stated that 2 major law enforcement actions happened right alongside the protests. Step 1, the Enforcement Directorate, or ED, officially launched an investigation into the alleged irregularities surrounding the JSC-CGL and other exams. Step 2, and this is a massive development, a former JSPSC chairperson was arrested right in the middle of this ongoing row. These twin official actions clearly show that the allegations of systemic irregularities have triggered some serious, high-level scrutiny and legal consequences.
But you know, this story doesn't actually stop at local exam irregularities. It branches out. Press freedom under fire, a democratic crisis.
And this brilliantly illustrates a deeply concerning aspect of the fallout from these protests. Normally, standard formal legal protocols dictate that when someone is detained, they're taken to a police station, right? But look at the reported reality on the ground in Jharkhand. A journalist who was covering the protest was detained entirely outside these protocols, allegedly being held at a hotel instead. This stark contrast raises immediate critical questions about media freedom and how information during a crisis like this is actually being managed.
To really contextualize what that means for the broader picture, I want you to hear this quote directly from the source material. "The true essence of democracy lies in accountability and an unhindered press." This highlights a core concern here. The argument is that democracy struggles when there's selective outrage. If reporters are prevented from bringing the truth to the public, the system is failing. Freedom of speech has to be protected consistently and robustly, completely regardless of who holds power at any given moment.
As we wrap up this explainer, we have to look at the intersection of desperate students, systemic examination failures, heavily armed police responses, and the alleged extrajudicial detention of the press. When we impartially look at these facts, it leaves us reflecting on one incredibly vital, provocative thought. If the facts on the ground require such extreme measures to manage, we must ask, who is truly afraid of transparency?